Are you ready for Palace Heist? My name is Rebecca Quest, and I'm going to teach you how to play the new co-op version of Disney Lorcana so you can steal the Hexwell Crown and defeat Jafar in the new Illumineer's Quest Palace Heist. So starting off, if you don't know, Illumineer's Quest is a co-op version of Disney Lorcana. You can play it as a solo player even, or with up to 4 players. In this box, you have everything that you need to play the game. There is the Jafar deck and then 2 Illumineer's decks. And if you want to play with 3 or 4 players, just bring your own decks to the game. All right, if you're ready for this heist, let's dive in and talk first about the setup of the game. I'm going to switch to a top-down view so you can better see. All right, so we've got our Palace Heist box here, and let's go ahead and open it up and take everything out. We have our game board, we have rules and our battlefields. We've got Jafar's deck, we have 2 Illumineer's decks, and we have damage counters. We also have the winning card here. It is a secret though, and so I'm not going to spoil it for you. Once you beat Jafar, then this is your prize. In here we also have a rules book, your battlefields, and Jafar and his crown. All right, let's set aside these counters and our Illumineer's decks for just a moment, and let's get Jafar set up. We will use the game board, and this has everything marked for us that we need to set up Jafar, his play area, locations, his inkwell. He'll put the scenario deck here, and then his hand, discard. Jafar goes right here along with the Hexwell Crown over here on this side. Now in the counters that come with the game, you will also get a couple other tokens as well. So you have a little snake token, and this can be used on the board to track Jafar's lore as he goes up. You also have some other tokens to track Illumineer's lore. You have damage tokens, and then you've got this little guy. So this little diamond looking token is used to track how many cards Jafar is drawing. So he starts off by drawing 2, and we're gonna talk about that in just a moment. Of course, you need Jafar's deck. Jafar's deck has lots of locations and crazy characters and items. This deck is really wild to play against. It's a lot of fun. So to start the game, of course, you're gonna wanna shuffle this up really well. And once you've done that, then the deck will go here on the board where it says scenario deck. And that's it for getting Jafar set up. Now that Jafar is all set up over there, let's talk about setting up for the Illumineers. There are 2 decks that come with the game. One is a Sapphire Amethyst and the other is an Amber Steel deck. So you just need to choose which decks you're gonna play with and shuffle up just as you would for any other Disney Lorcana game. Now that we're shuffled, we are almost ready to start. But before we start, we need to choose which battleground we're gonna play with. These are like different levels of the game, and they go up in increasing difficulty. It starts off with Jafar's throne room, and this battleground is easy. Then you have a normal mode, you have hard, and then you have extreme. I definitely recommend you start with easy or normal mode just to get a hang of the game before you try one of the higher difficulties. Once you've chosen your battleground, everyone is shuffled up and you have everything set, then you are ready to start. Okay, now that we have everything set up, let's take a moment and talk about the objective of the game and take a look at some of the rules. So the story in Disney Lorcana is that Jafar has stolen the Hexwell Crown. He took the 2 broken pieces, reforged them back together, and is using the power from the crown to transform Disney Lorcana and bring it under his rule. So the Illumineers, along with all of our glimmers in our deck, we have to steal the reforged Hexwell Crown away from Jafar to win the game. The way that we do that is we play a game of Disney Lorcana against Jafar and his glimmers. We steal the reforged crown. All players must get to 20 lore before Jafar can get to 40, and that is how you win. Also, this reforged crown is very important because you can't win unless you have the crown in your possession. So the first question is, how do you steal the reforged crown? That is a seemingly simple task. Let's talk about it. The Reforged Crown is an item at the start of their turn. Whichever player has the Hexwell Crown gains 2 lore. So it says all of this right on the card here so you won't forget. That means Jafar is getting lore right out of the gate. But if you steal it, then you will gain the lore. Now, if you steal the crown and you have it on your side of the board and something happens, this item gets banished, it actually doesn't get banished from the game. Jafar just steals it back. He's very good at stealing the crown. It's really a game of back and forth. Jafar also has lots of actions, items, and characters that will steal the crown back from the players. Now, to steal the crown from Jafar, there's 2 things that you have to do. Number 1 is Jafar has lots of obstacles in his deck. Obstacles are locations, and while there is an obstacle in play, Illumineers can't steal the crown. So the first thing that you have to do is banish any obstacles that Jafar has out on the board. Once you've done that, in order to steal the crown, each Illumineer must exert one of their characters. That means you have to have a character out on the board which can be exerted. It can't be the turn that you just played that character. And you cannot challenge or quest or sing or otherwise use your character in any other way. You have to exert it in order to steal the crown. And each player has to do that. So if you're playing with 2 players, then you both have to exert a character. If you have 4 players, all 4 of you have to exert a character in order to steal the crown from Jafar. So that's how you steal the crown. But now, how do you get to 20 lore? You do that the same way you play any other game. So you play characters and you quest and you gain lore to beat Jafar. When it comes to the battlegrounds, there are some player abilities on each battleground that you can do. These are really fun and can really turn the tide in a game of Illumineer's quests. Each battleground has different abilities that you can pay using your lore to trigger those abilities. For example, in this easy battleground of Jafar's throne room, it says that you can pay 1 lore and chosen character gains resist +1 until the start of your next turn. You can also pay 2 lore or 3 lore for other abilities, and that just means that 1 player must choose to deduct lore from their total in order to use these battleground abilities. Each battleground also has other effects. In the case of the easy battleground, it says Jafar's characters enter play exerted. Player abilities can be very key to winning a game, but you can only use each ability once per turn. So you could use all 3 if you wanted, but for example, you couldn't use the character gains resist +1 multiple times on a turn. So between you and your fellow Illumineers, you'll need to choose which ones you want to use and when. Let's talk about players' turns. So Illumineers start out with 7 cards, just like any other game of Lorcana. You can alter your opening hand and reshuffle, and once you have your 7 cards, you're ready to play. Jafar actually goes first, so on your first turn, you will draw a card, and then play proceeds normal from there. The main thing to remember for players is at the start of your turn, you're gonna ready, set, and draw. You're gonna ready all of your ink and all of your characters that are exerted. You're gonna set, which means take care of any start of turn effects, such as if you have the Reforged Crown in your possession, you would gain 2 lore. If you have locations in play, you would gain any lore from those locations, and so on. And then you're gonna draw for turn. And then during the main phase of your turn, there's 3 things that you can do. You can ink once per turn, you can play any cards out of your hand as long as you have the ink, and you can use the characters that are already in play to do any number of things, including questing, challenging, singing songs, or even stealing the Hexwell Crown. All right, I've moved our Illumineers playmat over for a moment so we can take a closer look at Jafar and what happens on Jafar's turn. Jafar has a very similar turn as Illumineers with a few differences. To start with, let's talk about how many cards Jafar draws. In the rulebook, you'll actually find a chart that tells you how many cards Jafar draws. Depending on the number of players that you have, he'll start by drawing either 2 or 3 cards, and then he will increase the number of cards that he draws as the game goes on. So for 2 players, he starts out with 2 cards, but then once he reaches 10 lore, he'll draw an additional card, begin to draw 3, and then once he gets to 30, he'll draw another additional card, and he'll be drawing 4 cards every turn. So it does get harder as it goes on, and once he's reached that point in the game, then he draws that many cards, and if he drops below that lore total, it doesn't matter. He just always will draw that number of cards from then till the end of the game. So Jafar actually goes first in the game, and he will gain his 2 lore from the Reforged Crown, and then play the cards in his hand. Draw the cards and leave him here on his hand. If any other cards go into his hand, then you leave them there, and then you'll play them from the top down. So how does Jafar play cards? Well, it's a little different for him than it is for Illumineers. You see, this first card I have, it is a 4-cost location. Well, Jafar doesn't have any ink, so we're gonna actually turn this card into ink. So now he has 1 ink available. So he could play any card that is 1 ink or less. And this unfortunately costs 2, so this also goes into the inkwell. So now Jafar has 2 ink. Now the difference with ink for Jafar is that as long as he has the amount of ink to play a card, he gets to play the card. He doesn't exert his ink, he just gets to use it endlessly. Let's draw another 2 cards and say it's Jafar's next turn. The next card we have is a 6 cost, so that will go in the inkwell. Now he has 3 ink, and our next card is a 2-cost action. So now Jafar has 3 ink, he does have enough ink to play this, and so he would resolve this action and any effects would take place. All right, this is a 7-cost character, he only has 3 ink, so again this goes in the inkwell, and our next character is a 4-cost character. So since he has 4 ink, then he can play this out. Normally Jafar's cards would come out ready, just like it does for you. On easy mode, they do come out exerted no matter what. All right, we're gonna fast forward into Jafar's turns a little bit to get some more cards on the board here. All right, let's say it's Jafar's turn. He has a few characters out now and an obstacle, and he has a similar start of turn as Illumineers do. So instead of ready, set, draw though, it's ready, set, resolve the row, and then draw. So first we're gonna ready all of our characters. Set, we're gonna take any beginning of turn effects. Set would include getting that 2 lore from the Reforged Crown. Also, he has an obstacle out where he gains 1 lore, and those are the only start of turn effects. So he gains 3 lore during the set phase. And then we resolve the row, and that means starting from left to right, we're going to resolve any effects of the characters that are already here. Quest with a couple of characters, we have an item that we can banish to gain more lore, and another character that we can quest with. Now we can draw. We don't look at those cards though. He's still drawing 2, so you're gonna go 1, 2, draw those cards and keep them face down, and then we're gonna 1 at a time reveal them. This is a disastrous sandstorm, 4 cost. He has 6 ink, that means he can play it. Each Illumineer chooses and banishes one of their items or locations. So that resolves, and then we're gonna do the next card in his hand, which is another glimmer, and so we'll bring that out onto the board. And that is Jafar's turn. So ready, set, resolve, draw, and then play Jafar's cards. All right, Illumineers, that is everything you need to know about Illumineer's quest and how to beat Jafar. You know how to set everything up, how to take your turns, how to go through Jafar's turns, and hopefully you have everything that you need for this heist. It is a difficult game, I will tell you that. Jafar is quite a challenge. Stealing this crown back and forth, it's a lot of fun. He has some wild characters and glimmers in here. I wish you the best of luck. If you play, let me know how it goes for you. It took me 2 times to play it through, and then on the 3rd time, we finally were able to beat him and open up that secret card. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy questing.